Hey, what's going on guys and girls? Alcoholic Phoenix here and welcome to another test server patch overview. Now, let's start off with the subject of teaming. But first, the footage you will see on your screen to show off the showdown is from a Twitch streamer called KDWolf77. His link will be down in the description below. I thank him very much for the footage to show off this showdown. Oh, and PS, he had full support from the devs to test this showdown thing out. Allegiances on the island are about to get more interesting and bloody. Teamwork is good, except when it's bad. The top cause of angst in the community lately has been the rising prevalence of teaming, both ad hoc and premeditated, in solo and trials matches. After much deliberation between Kaz and Frank, we decided to add a new match event to solo and trials matches called the Showdown. Rather than trying to prevent teaming completely, we decided to try a method that prevents it from being a winning strategy. When you've been flagged as colluding with a teammate, attacking another player will spawn a showdown arena. If you are tagged in a showdown, you must quickly enter the arena and fight your former ally until one of you is left alive. If either player attempts to escape the arena, they will be executed. When one of you dies, the showdown ends and the remaining player is free to proceed in the match. If neither player dies before the timer runs out, both of you will be killed. They don't want to delve into specifics of how the system works, but they have taken pains to ensure that non-teaming behaviour will not be misconstrued as teaming, i.e. chases, stalking, temporary truces, etc. But if you do find a case that the system fails to catch teamers or misidentifies teaming activity, be sure to let Xaviant know. Now, onto combat and netcode. Our approach to combat netcode relies heavily on client prediction to allow for the smoothest, most responsive experience possible. When you press a button, your client expects those things to happen when those inputs reach the server, and we will start playing animations in anticipation. The reason actions have some wind-up time, in addition to looking better, is to allow some wiggle room to allow for players of differing pings to both participate in the shared illusion of playing a fun game together. Most of the time this works flawlessly and neither player knows the difference. Unfortunately, this prediction can break down in some situations, such as when both players are simultaneously sending block and attack commands which are going to pass each other in flight to the opposing player. The situations end with the result that feel arbitrary at best or infuriatingly buggy at worst. How did he punch me through my block? Rage quit. It isn't an easy problem. For those of you who are so inclined, here are a couple of overviews that begin to scratch the surface of the forces at work and the wide variety of issues that present themselves in the process of solving these issues. Now there'll be two links down the bottom in the description for these. The underlying netcode has been modified to favour accuracy over input responsiveness, subject to further iteration of course. Most players should hopefully not notice a huge impact on their play, but blocking may end up feeling more sluggish for players with higher pings. We await your feedback before we invest more time in polishing the presentation of this approach. Being struck in melee while shoving will stagger the shover, as you can see on your screen. I'm purposely doing this to a bot to try and get him to hit me while I'm in a push animation, and there I go, I get staggered right there. When equipping a bow, you now need to knock an arrow before firing. As you can see, I pull it off my shoulder and line up for the shot, and boom, headshot. Alright, now let's go over some perk changes. Defensive perks are firmly in our crosshairs. Defensive perks have been overrepresented in every match. They also extend the length of fights and upset the general balance because there aren't offensive perks strong enough to counteract them. Adding offensive perks that just increase damage isn't the approach we want to take. It'll just exacerbate the problem of feeling like defensive perks are a must-have, or creating a glass cannon versus tank approach, leaving everyone in the middle feeling terrible. In addition, any perks that have no active gameplay component like Big Bone, you take it and get all the effects without any action required, are reduced even further. These passive bonuses should not be as effective as those that are conditional or situational. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Okay, so what changed? Now first on your screen you can see I've got 110 health. That is what a Big Bone has been reduced to. Trapper now also includes the bonus from Faster Trapper plus 75% increased deployment speed and increased disarm speed. Now on your screen what I'm trying to do is I'm going to test something. In the patch notes it says Trapper no longer increases damage of traps but instead applies a 50% exposed wound to a target that has triggered your traps. So I'm leading this bot into a set of crafted snares to see if I get the exposed wound pop up. But on my screen I didn't see the exposed wound popping up for anybody. I tried this both with normal crafted snares and steel snares and I did not get this pop up for either. So I don't know whether expose isn't working on the traps in the test server or whether the pop-up isn't showing up, but I guess we'll have to see if it works itself out. Tough Mother has been nerfed to only give you a 10% damage mitigation. Thick Skin has been reduced to 30%. Thick Skin has had the firearm component removed from it, which has been moved to the Bomb Suit perk. Bomb Suit now affects both explosive damage and firearm damage and remains at 50%. Faster Trapper has been combined with Trapper and removed. The Cannibal Health regain reduced to 25 from 35, and the Stamina regain has been increased to full stamina upon a kill. The Maniac and Leatherhide perks have been removed. Stealthy can now also craft silently. Again, I think this is a good buff to the perk that people weren't using very often since it originally got nerfed. Old Painless has had its damage reduced to 10%. Master Crafter has been changed, so its damage bonus remains at plus 20%, but now also increases the crafting speed by Faster Crafter perk values at 50%. Man Tracker perk now allows you to move while man tracking in addition to spawning with one. Obviously, if you just have a normal man tracker and you do not have the man tracker perk on, you will not be able to use it while you are moving around. Okay, a couple things with the blowgun. Every time you switch back to it or you fire a shot, you will have to cock the blowgun, kind of like you have to with the bow and arrow. And if you are using the Blowhard perk now, it will increase the sickness applied by the blowgun to allow for 2 vomits. As you can see on your screen, I'm fighting this bot and there's 1 vomit, and in a second he will vomit again because I'm using the Blowhard perk. Okay, now the Longshot perk now makes an audible bassy sound when you hit a target at greater than 40 meters, so you know if and when it is working. The Stun Gun and the Recurve Bow will now both recycle 420 Funk. The Red Gunner perk now adds Bleed, Expose, and Cripple to your shots, and Alarm Gun ammo can be crafted with rocks. Nanites are crafty. Angry Octopus cooldown has been increased to 120 seconds, or 2 minutes, however you want to word it. The Dig Deep health regained from Dig Deep has been reduced to 15 from 30, and Dig Deep now triggers when the player hits 1 hit point, allowing it to be triggered by bleed, but removing the bleed in the process. In general, they believe this perk pass has been a long time in the works, but we needed to get closer on other larger issues in order to focus on the perks. We have more changes planned for perks and more perks in general coming in the future, including more interesting things and more offensively focused perks. So we have plans for the future, but we need to get our stock batch in order first. Now what you're seeing on your screen right now is the tunnels that I showed you in the patch overview video. These tunnels are on the southwest side of the map towards radio. It now has lockers, and I'm pretty sure a green crate can spawn in here. There's not much else to it at the moment, but maybe we'll see this tunnel open up in the future to go somewhere else. Culpepper Outfitters has also had a full art pass. It kind of reminds me, I'm pretty sure I'm correct in this, like a Hot Topic in America. Is that what it's supposed to be? Or I could be wrong, but it does look way nicer than what it did. Obviously, they're slowly getting there with trying to change these buildings and make them more aesthetically pleasing, and I really love that. They have replaced gold crates with hollow spawners. These appear as the match nears completion and preview the item you can purchase for 100 Funk. As you can see, that one was an OJ. This one is a Muscle Man Milk. This one is a Stamina Shot. And this one was another Orange Juice. So there are 4 that are around the center arena. They can have body armor and pretty much all the other items I think that you could have in the gold crates. So that is really cool. They have increased the time it takes to use a med kit from 2.5 seconds to 4 seconds. There is now a brand new building on the southeast side of the map. It is not a huge building. It's a nice small building with lockers and a green crate spawn in it. It is right towards Gas East if you take the back spawn where the sewers are. Also, speaking of sewers, people have been asking for it and now they're finally going to get it. The sewers have had some rooms put into them with loot. So if you get the back spawn, you have got some stuff to loot and you don't have to just run and hope to kill somebody or end up running into gas heaps and be forced to kill somebody. Also in the sewers, there are these really cool gates that you can activate and force them to drop. And there are also gas pylons on the ceiling, so you could theoretically set off the gas pylon and trap your opponent on the other side of the gate, and he will probably choke to death in the gas. Okay, now guys and girls, let's just go over a couple last fixes for this test server patch update. They have fixed the point of aiming on the bows. Previously, the bows would shoot a little bit to the right, and it was really weird. They've reduced the interaction time with funk barrels and funk piles. They have fixed a bug where the control sensitivity did not reset when being disarmed while aiming a ranged weapon, but apparently that bug still happens with blowguns. They have improved the visuals for being struck while initiating a block to communicate better. They have fixed the axe weapons applying the wrong wounds when thrown. They have fixed the crafted knife and crafted snare so they can now be picked up with the number keys. They have got a fix for disarm snares, leaving a trigger volume behind in some situations. They've also lowered the audible audio volume in the lobby, and they have lowered the volume of first-person movement sounds while stealthy. And last but certainly not least, they have removed the Grab My Package event for now because it is too similar to Loot Express. So anyway, guys and girls, that is the end of this test server patch overview. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was pretty long. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to cut them down a little bit more in the future. But I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to leave a like. Remember to subscribe, and all have a lovely day. All right, peace.